There are forces in this world more dangerous than failure, more subtle than fear, and more fatal to progress than outright defeat. They do not attack from without, they grow within. They are invisible saboteurs of greatness, mental termites gnawing at the beams of potential. Every man or woman who has ever fallen short of what they could have been was not destroyed by the visible enemy, but by the quiet ones, the forces that work in shadow, the attitudes that poison from the inside out. These hidden forces are not fate, they are habits of mind. They live in your responses, your reasoning, your interpretation of life's daily friction. You will never meet them in the open field, for they disguise themselves as comfort, kindness, patience, and humility. They whisper to you, "You have time." They pat your back and say, "You've done enough." They rock you gently to sleep when destiny calls you to rise. And so, if you wish to grow, if you wish to seize control of your mind and forge the life that belongs to disciplined souls, you must name these enemies, observe them, master them, and replace them with the higher laws of thought. For as Napoleon Hill wrote, "The mind once mastered becomes the greatest servant known to man, but if left untrained, it becomes the most dangerous master." Let us begin where all power begins, with awareness. You cannot conquer what you cannot see. You cannot change what you will not confront. Every struggle for success is first a struggle for clarity, and clarity begins with the courage to look within and admit, "I have been my own obstacle." The first of these hidden forces is emotional reactivity, that insidious habit of letting the world pull you like a puppet on the strings of circumstance. It begins so quietly that you scarcely notice. A delayed message irritates you. A colleague's tone offends you, a stranger's opinion unsettles you, and before the hour is over, you have surrendered your inner world to outer noise. You may believe such reactions harmless, but they are the slow erosion of power. For every moment you react, you lose initiative. Every time you respond impulsively, you forfeit choice. A man ruled by reaction cannot rule his destiny. He is forever at the mercy of things. The disciplined man, on the other hand, lives by response, not reaction. He pauses, he observes. He directs his mind before he directs his words. He is calm because he has trained himself to be. This calmness is not indifference, it is dominion. It is strength under command. He knows that the one who can stay composed under pressure can decide the terms of every battle. Emotional reactivity is the first assassin of growth because it shatters concentration. It divides the will and diffuses attention. You cannot build an empire with a scattered mind. The human mind, like light, gains power only when it is focused. Anger, jealousy, resentment, these are leaks in the reservoir of concentration. Plug them, and your mind becomes a laser. Ignore them, and your energy evaporates through invisible holes. How does one escape reactivity? Through mental discipline, through the training of thought to move only at command. Begin by catching yourself in the instant before emotion becomes motion. That 1 second of awareness is the gate between slavery and sovereignty. If you can pause, you can choose. If you can choose, you can change. If you can change, you can grow. The second hidden force is the need for approval, the hunger to be seen, to be liked, to be accepted. It looks harmless, even human, but it is one of the most subtle prisons of the mind. Those who depend on applause become slaves to opinion. They work not for excellence, but for acceptance. They live not by internal compass, but by external noise. Understand this truth. The world is too inconsistent to serve as your mirror. Praise one day, silence the next. You will never be stable if you let public sentiment shape private conviction. To build greatness, you must become indifferent to approval. You must anchor your worth in purpose, not perception. The need for approval kills growth because it replaces purpose with performance. You stop asking what is right and start asking what will please. You trade vision for validation, progress for popularity. But remember this, history remembers builders, not pleasers. It is the man who dares to stand alone in principle who shapes the course of time. Train yourself, therefore, to act from inner law. Ask of every decision, does this advance my definite purpose? If it does, proceed without hesitation, even if the world misunderstands. If it does not, abstain even if the world applauds. The price of approval is authenticity, and authenticity is the foundation of power. The third hidden force is mental chaos, the undirected mind that drifts from task to task, idea to idea, emotion to emotion, without order or command. It is the silent killer of focus and the archenemy of discipline. The untrained mind is like an ungoverned city, noise everywhere, confusion in every street, no hierarchy of importance, no direction of purpose. The average person wakes each morning and immediately hands control of his consciousness to the world: messages, notifications, demands, noise. His mind becomes a stage for other people's agendas. How then can he claim to be free? Mental chaos kills growth because it consumes the fuel of achievement, attention. Where attention goes, energy flows. Where energy flows, creation follows. But scatter attention, and all power dissipates. You cannot harness a storm. You must channel it. To overcome this force, one must practice definiteness of purpose, the law that everything must serve a single central aim. Purpose is the spine of all order. Without it, even intelligence collapses into confusion. With it, even modest abilities become formidable. Definiteness of purpose means every thought, every task, every word is evaluated by one standard. Does this serve the vision? If not, it is discarded. Simplicity is power. Complexity is weakness. The masters of every field achieved dominance not by doing more, but by doing only what mattered most, again and again, until excellence became nature. The fourth hidden force is emotional attachment, the inability to detach from people, outcomes, or memories that no longer serve your advancement. It masquerades as loyalty, but in truth, it is bondage. Growth demands release. You cannot climb while clutching the past. Emotional attachment kills growth because it binds energy to what is finished. The mind that dwells on old wounds, lost opportunities, or failed relationships is like a farmer watering dead plants. Every drop of attention given to what cannot change steals nourishment from what could. Detachment is not coldness, it is clarity. It is the recognition that your loyalty must be to principle, not nostalgia. To let go is not betrayal, it is alignment with progress. Every new stage of life demands the courage to shed the old. The snake that does not shed its skin dies trapped in its own growth. The emotionally detached man moves through life with open hands. He holds everything with appreciation, but clings to nothing with desperation. He knows that possession is temporary, but character is eternal. And because he is free of need, he acts from power. The fifth hidden force is self-deception, the comfortable illusion that you are progressing simply because you are busy. Of all the enemies, this one is the most fatal because it flatters you while it destroys you. It tells you that activity equals advancement, that motion equals momentum, that intention equals achievement. But success is not movement, it is direction. Many are busy digging trenches that lead nowhere. They mistake exhaustion for effectiveness. They live in constant motion but accomplish nothing lasting because they have confused labor with law. Self-deception thrives wherever there is no honest reflection. The disciplined mind, however, audits itself. It measures progress not by noise but by results, not by opinion but by evidence. It asks, am I growing in discipline, detachment, and definiteness? If not, it adjusts course. For as Hill said, you cannot manage what you do not measure. Each of these five forces, reactivity, approval-seeking, chaos, attachment, and self-deception, feeds the others. Together, they form a silent conspiracy against growth. They disguise stagnation as comfort, weakness as kindness, distraction as duty, and fear as humility. To master your inner world, you must dissolve each of them through conscious practice of their opposites: calmness, independence, order, detachment, and truth. These are not emotions. They are disciplines. They are mental habits cultivated by deliberate repetition until they become instinct. Begin by mastering response over reaction. The next time emotion rises, do not fight it, observe it. See how it seeks to dominate your thought. Then breathe, delay, decide. Each pause reclaims authority. Each moment of stillness strengthens command. You are teaching your mind that you, not the world, give the orders. Next, cultivate mental independence. Make solitude your ally, not your punishment. Spend time alone with your thoughts until you can hear your own convictions above the noise of others. Greatness is born in quiet minds. The crowd produces echo. Solitude produces originality. Then enforce mental order. Choose a definite aim and let every thought orbit it like planets around the Sunday schedule. Your hours as a banker guards his vault. Fill them not with distraction, but with deliberate progress. If you do not plan your day, someone else will. Practice emotional detachment. Accept change as the law of growth. Release without resentment. Forgive swiftly, not for others, but to free yourself. Detachment is the courage to let life move while you remain centered. Finally, practice brutal honesty. Admit your weaknesses without shame, for what is admitted can be improved, and what is denied cannot. Truth is the scalpel that cuts away illusion. Without truth, all effort is wasted on false premises. Through these disciplines, the mind becomes a kingdom structured, peaceful, and unshakable. No storm can breach it, no insult can penetrate it, no failure can define it. The disciplined mind does not merely survive adversity, it turns it into instruction. Every challenge becomes data. Every delay becomes design. Every pain becomes preparation. There comes a moment in every seeker's journey when they realize success is not about what you acquire, it is about what you command. Command your attention, and you command time. Command your emotion, and you command energy. Command your thoughts, and you command destiny. For destiny is not written in the stars, it is written in your responses. The reactive man blames, the master builds. The reactive man waits, the master initiates. The reactive man is tossed by every wave. The master becomes the tide itself. The law of cause and effect governs all things. If you sow emotional chaos, you reap confusion. If you sow discipline, you reap dominion. The choice is daily, hourly, moment by moment. The question is not whether the laws work, the question is whether you will align with them. When you understand this, you no longer ask for easier circumstances. You demand a stronger mind. You no longer pray for calm seas. You pray for a steadier hand. You no longer wish for fewer problems. You wish for greater composure. Emotional detachment is not withdrawal from life, it is mastery of life. It is living as cause, not effect. As commander, not captive. As the author, not the audience. He who commands himself commands the future. The mind is the workshop of creation, but for most men it has become a chamber of confusion. They mistake activity for accomplishment, emotion for thought, and reaction for response. They are busy, but not directed, excited, but not effective. They believe they are thinking, when in truth they are merely being moved by thought. To master your growth, you must learn to think consciously, to use thought as a tool rather than being used by it. Let us understand what mastery truly means. It is not the absence of feeling, nor the denial of emotion, nor the suppression of desire. It is the governance of all three. You were given emotion for energy, thought for direction, and will for execution. When emotion leads, chaos follows. When thought leads, harmony begins. When will enforces, creation happens. A man's success or failure can be traced to the order or disorder of this trinity. Emotion must obey thought, and thought must obey will. When this hierarchy is reversed, the individual becomes enslaved to impulse and circumstance, but when it is rightly ordered, he becomes the architect of his destiny. You cannot master external conditions until you have mastered internal ones. You cannot govern time, money, or men until you have learned to govern your own impulses, moods, and thoughts. For the world outside merely mirrors the world within. If your inner kingdom is divided, your outer affairs will always reflect that division. Every emotion that disturbs you is an opportunity to practice command. Do not wish for a calm life. Wish for the strength to remain calm amid turbulence. Do not pray for the removal of problems. Pray for the power to solve them without losing peace. Every challenge is a test of your inner authority, and until you pass these tests, life will repeat them. Emotional mastery begins with observation. You must stand apart from your emotions as a witness, not a victim. Observe how quickly anger rises when things do not go your way. Observe how swiftly doubt creeps in when results delay. Observation without judgment is the first step toward control. For the moment you can watch your emotion instead of becoming it, You have already transcended it. The second step is redirection. Do not resist emotion, harness it. Anger can fuel determination. Fear can sharpen preparation. Frustration can ignite innovation. The key is to direct the energy, not to be driven by it. The same fire that destroys can also forge. But this requires the discipline of neutrality, a calm mind unpolluted by extremes. The neutral mind does not mean the cold mind, it means the balanced mind. It is the mind that remains centered while emotions whirl around it. It can act without haste, think without bias, decide without panic. This is the law of mental neutrality, one of the great hidden laws of achievement. It states that the more neutral your state of mind, the greater your capacity for clear perception and correct judgment. Emotion distorts perception. Anger narrows it. Fear clouds it. Excitement exaggerates it. But neutrality reveals the truth of things as they are. Think of a mirror disturbed by ripples. It cannot reflect the image clearly. So it is with the mind. As long as emotion agitates it, you cannot see reality. Only when the waters of thought are still can truth reveal itself. Neutrality gives birth to accurate thinking. Accurate thinking is the foundation of all right decision and therefore of all achievement. Every mistake, every failure, every setback traces its origin to inaccurate thinking. The world punishes emotional conclusions and rewards calm analysis. When a man loses money, it is seldom because of lack of intelligence, it is because of lack of detachment. He becomes emotionally attached to outcomes, and emotion blinds judgment. He holds losing positions because he fears loss. He invests in illusions because he craves hope. Detachment would have saved him both fortune and time. The mind must function as an instrument of precision. To achieve this, you must practice removing the noise of emotion before thinking. Ask yourself in moments of agitation, am I seeing clearly or am I seeing through the distortion of feeling? To think clearly under stress is the rarest ability in the world and the most valuable. The man who can keep his reasoning intact while others drown in emotion becomes the natural leader, the one others trust when chaos strikes. Hill wrote, "Calmness is the cradle of power." He was right. Calmness is not inactivity. It is control. It is a stored force, poised, ready, deliberate. The calm mind is like an archer who does not release the arrow until the aim is true. The reactive man fires first and hopes to hit the target. When you are calm, you can see the whole board, not just the piece in front of you. The man who can see the whole board wins. He knows that every move has consequence, that every decision sets off a chain of effects. He does not act for today, he acts for destiny. But calmness cannot be acquired through wishful thinking. It must be cultivated like a skill. Each day there will come moments that provoke you, delays, insults, misunderstandings, frustrations. Each is a training ground. Meet them with stillness, not struggle. Your silence will become your strength. Train your breath to be slow when others gasp. Train your speech to be measured when others shout. Train your mind to remain objective when others panic. These are the daily exercises of mastery. You will notice that calmness makes you more efficient. It saves energy that others waste in reaction. It expands perception that others narrow through emotion. It allows you to operate at higher capacity because you are no longer leaking energy through internal conflict. The undisciplined man fights himself before he ever fights the world. His emotion drains his strength, but the disciplined man directs every ounce of energy toward advancement. He does not scatter it through frustration or self-pity. He moves with precision and power. To maintain calmness, you must also master autosuggestion, the conscious feeding of your subconscious mind with chosen beliefs. The subconscious is the obedient engine of your destiny. It does not discriminate between truth and falsehood. It acts upon whatever it is fed with conviction. If you continually dwell upon fear, doubt, and anger, your subconscious will reproduce them as your environment. But if you command it with confidence, peace, and definiteness of purpose, it will organize every resource, seen and unseen, toward your advancement. Each morning, affirm the principles you wish to live by. Speak them aloud with feeling. The words you repeat with belief become the blueprint of your reality. Say to yourself, I am calm under all conditions. I think before I act. My emotions serve my purpose. My time is sacred. My thoughts are deliberate. My will is law. I-N. Do this not as idle recitation, but as programming. You are the engineer of your mind. Every repetition strengthens the neural pathways of discipline. Soon the conscious effort fades and the attitude becomes automatic. That is when mastery begins, when self-control no longer feels like strain, but like nature. Autosuggestion is not mystical, it is mechanical. Your subconscious learns through repetition and emotion. Therefore, combine your affirmations with visualization. See yourself calm in crisis, focused in distraction, detached in difficulty. The mind believes what it sees vividly. Feed it the right images, and it will shape reality to match. Emotional detachment, then, is not about withdrawing from life. It is about engaging with life from the highest vantage point. You are not a spectator. You are the director. You are not a leaf in the wind. You are the wind. You choose where to blow, when to move, and when to rest. But do not confuse detachment with apathy. The detached man feels deeply but acts wisely. He does not freeze emotion, he channels it. His compassion does not make him weak, it gives him strength. His patience is not hesitation, it is strategy. His silence is not surrender, it is power held in reserve. There is a certain majesty in restraint. It is the invisible mark of all true leaders. While the masses rush to speak, the master waits. While others panic, he plans. While others despair, he decides. His stillness commands more than others' shouting. You must learn to be still inside even while moving outside. The world will always attempt to provoke you, to bait you into reactivity. But remember, whoever can provoke you controls you. He who cannot be provoked controls the situation. Master this single idea and your life will transform. Emotional control is economic control. Mental discipline is financial discipline. Calmness is leverage. The same mind that resists impulse and emotion will resist impulse in spending, in investment, in decision. The principles are identical. He who acts from emotion spends both time and energy poorly. He who acts from discipline compounds both. Every success story is the history of emotional control. Every failure story is the chronicle of emotional indulgence. To take control of your inner world, you must establish hierarchy, mind above mood, purpose above pleasure, vision above validation. The hierarchy must be absolute, no exception, no compromise. When you allow emotion to lead, it will always lead you astray, for emotion seeks immediate relief, not long-term victory. The disciplined mind delays gratification. It understands that comfort is the counterfeit of achievement. If you wish to rise above mediocrity, you must fall in love with discomfort. The discomfort of saying no when you want to say yes. The discomfort of silence when you wish to argue. The discomfort of structure when you crave ease. Growth hides in these discomforts like diamonds in the dark. Every time you choose discipline over indulgence, you strengthen will. And will, once strengthened, becomes the immovable core of character. It is through will that dreams become decrees. But understand, willpower is not a momentary burst of effort. It is the steady hand of consistency. It is the invisible rope that pulls you back to purpose every time emotion tries to pull you away. The man of will does not always feel motivated, but he acts anyway. Motivation is mood, discipline is law. You must build within yourself an unbreakable pattern of return to purpose. Every distraction must end where it began in alignment. Every temptation must die in the light of your aim. Every emotion must find its place beneath your command. For the ultimate enemy of growth is not lack of opportunity. It is lack of control. Opportunities are everywhere, but only the disciplined can recognize and capitalize upon them. The undisciplined mind misses doors even when standing before them because emotion blinds vision. When your mind is ordered, doors appear. When your emotion is calm, timing aligns. When your will is focused, action becomes effortless. This is not coincidence, it is law. The universe mirrors your inner state. If you are chaotic, you will attract confusion. If you are reactive, you will attract crises. If you are calm, you will attract clarity. And if you are disciplined, you will attract destiny. There is a saying, as within, so without. It is not poetry, it is physics. Your outer world is the projection of your inner order. No man escapes this law. Therefore, Every effort you make toward inner mastery multiplies outward results. Every time you choose patience, you save time. Every time you choose restraint, you preserve strength. Every time you choose thought over emotion, you make a better decision, and each decision compounds into destiny. So discipline yourself to win small battles daily. The battle to stay silent when emotion tempts you to speak, the battle to continue working when distraction calls, the battle to stay composed when insulted, the battle to remain kind when wronged. Each is a step toward invincibility, for invincibility is not the absence of weakness. It is the refusal to indulge it. It is not the denial of emotion. It is the mastery of response. It is not isolation from the world. It is independence within it. Remember always, the man who conquers himself can never again be conquered by anything external. The average man lives his entire life in servitude to unseen masters, his moods, his fears, his impulses, his doubts. He imagines himself free because his cage is invisible. But freedom is not the ability to do as you please. It is the power to do as you must. And that power belongs only to those who have built the invisible structure of self-command. Self-command is the highest form of discipline, for it governs all others. It is the ability to issue orders to yourself and have those orders obeyed. It is the inner authority that enforces decision long after emotion has faded. Without it, no plan survives fatigue, no resolution endures temptation, and no dream becomes tangible. The one who cannot command himself will forever be commanded by circumstance. He will rise and fall according to the tides of the external world, never realizing that the waves he blames are reflections of the storms within. To build self-command, you must understand the architecture of inner order. The mind is a kingdom divided into three realms: the conscious, the subconscious, and the will. The conscious is the planner, the thinker, the observer. The subconscious is the doer, the builder, the engine that executes the blueprint. But the will is the king. It is the authority that directs both realms. If the will is weak, the conscious mind may plan, but the subconscious will not obey. It will wander, daydream, or rebel under the rule of emotion. But if the will is strong, the subconscious becomes a perfect servant. It will transform thought into habit, habit into character, and character into destiny. This is why Napoleon Hill placed such emphasis on the definiteness of purpose. Purpose gives the will direction. Without purpose, the will dissipates. Without the will, the mind disobeys itself. Without obedience, growth collapses. Definiteness of purpose is not a wish, it is a vow. It is the internal decree that says, "This is the mountain I will climb, and I will not turn back until I stand at its summit." Until your purpose becomes a decree, it will remain a dream. Once defined, purpose must be installed in the subconscious through repetition, visualization, and emotional conviction. You must feed it daily until it becomes the automatic rhythm of thought. Purpose is not maintained by memory, it is maintained by repetition. The subconscious does not respond to occasional enthusiasm. It responds to consistent instruction. Every day that you repeat your aim, you strengthen the neural path that leads to its fulfillment. Every time you dwell on doubt, you weaken it. The mind obeys what it hears most often. Speak to it as a general speaks to his troops. You must learn to discipline thought as you would discipline action. Most people believe thinking is free because it requires no effort of movement. Yet thought is the most expensive activity of all, for it consumes energy, directs emotion, and determines outcome. Every thought is a seed. Every emotion is water. Every action is sunlight. Together, they determine the harvest of your life. If you plant weeds in thought, you cannot reap flowers in results. If you allow negativity, complaint, and fear to occupy your attention, you are cultivating failure by design. To command your destiny, you must command your thoughts. To command your thoughts, you must command your attention. And attention is the rarest form of currency in the modern world, the resource that everyone spends, but few invest. Attention is not given. It is stolen. Stolen by every distraction, every emotion, every trivial indulgence that demands your reaction. Every time you lose focus, you deposit power into something that weakens you. Every time you reclaim focus, you reclaim sovereignty. Guard your attention like a treasure chest. Spend it only on what multiplies its value: purpose, study, strategy, and reflection. Withdraw it from gossip, outrage, and entertainment, for those are the tax collectors of mediocrity. When your attention becomes disciplined, your thoughts begin to align. And when your thoughts align, they create the magnetic field of achievement. The universe itself bends to the will of concentrated thought. Every innovation, every empire, every masterpiece was born from the mind of one who refused to scatter attention. Understand this law. The mind magnifies whatever it focuses upon. Focus on problems, and they expand. Focus on progress, and it accelerates. Focus on purpose, and everything else rearranges itself around that aim. Most men fail not because they lack potential, but because they waste it in diffusion. They chase 10 goals and achieve none. They commit to everything and master nothing. But the man of purpose eliminates ruthlessly. He knows that to be selective is to be powerful. Simplicity is strength. The narrow beam of a laser cuts steel. The broad glow of a candle barely warms the room. So it is with attention. Once your attention is disciplined, you must next conquer habit, for habit is the muscle memory of thought. It is the repetition that either strengthens you or destroys you. You will not rise above your habits. You will live exactly at their level. The man who wakes without intention drifts through the day at the mercy of impulses. But the man of discipline begins each morning with ritual, not superstition, but structure. Structure is what converts chaos into creation. Create order at the smallest levels, and it will reflect at the highest. A mind that commands itself to rise early, to study, to reflect, to work without distraction, will soon command enterprises, opportunities, and men. Order attracts order. Chaos attracts collapse. Your outer success will never outgrow your inner organization. The world is an echo chamber that amplifies the state of your mind. And so, you must decide whether you will build within or be broken without. For there is no neutral ground. Either you govern your inner kingdom or the world will rule it for you. The key to governing is mental separation, the art of observing thought without identifying with it. When doubt arises, say, "A thought of doubt is passing through my mind," rather than, "I am doubtful." When anger appears, say, "There is anger present," not, "I am angry." This simple separation restores authority. You are not your thoughts. You are the thinker. You are not your emotion. You are the observer of emotion. Once you regain that position of observer, you can begin to select your responses like a craftsman selects his tools. You will see that every reaction is a choice, and every choice is a creative act. This is how the great ones rise. They do not waste energy fighting their emotions. They direct them. They do not fear resistance. They harness it. They do not avoid difficulty. They transmute it into discipline. Transmutation is the alchemy of achievement. It is the process by which raw desire becomes creative force, by which emotion becomes will, by which struggle becomes power. Every frustration can be refined into focus, every pain into persistence, every loss into leverage. There is no wasted energy in the disciplined life. Every experience becomes material for mastery. The reactive man cries, "Why is this happening to me?" The master asks, "What law is this revealing to me?" One grows weaker through emotion. The other grows wiser through examination. The difference between failure and mastery lies in interpretation. The same fire that consumes one man tempers another. The same storm that breaks one ship strengthens another's sails. The same rejection that paralyzes one spirit propels another forward. The event does not decide, the interpretation does. The moment you change your interpretation, you change your experience. And the moment you change your experience, you change your destiny. The disciplined mind interprets everything through the lens of usefulness. It does not ask, "Why did this happen?" It asks, "How can I use this?" That single shift transforms obstacles into opportunities, losses into lessons, and enemies into educators. When you reach this level, you begin to understand the secret of power. Nothing can truly hurt you unless you give it permission. The external world can challenge, delay, or frustrate, but only your interpretation can wound. Freedom, therefore, is not found in the absence of hardship, but in the mastery of perception. You will know you are free when silence no longer frightens you, when solitude feels like strength, when adversity feels like training. You will know you are growing when emotion no longer dictates your day. Every time you withhold reaction, you gain power. Every time you replace impulse with principle, you grow in authority. Every time you choose purpose over preference, you move closer to mastery. You will also notice that as you rise in discipline, people will misunderstand you. They will call your detachment arrogance, your focus obsession, your restraint coldness. But these judgments are the proof of progress. For what they call arrogance is merely independence from approval. What they call obsession is commitment to purpose. What they call coldness is peace beyond panic. Do not explain your calmness to the restless. Do not justify your order to the chaotic. They will understand only when they see your results, and then they will call you lucky. But luck is the name the undisciplined give to the achievements of those who govern themselves. When you become master of your mind, you transcend the noise of opinion. You no longer need to convince, you simply create. You no longer seek applause. You produce excellence. And excellence, when consistent, speaks louder than words. Let your calmness be your proof. Let your discipline be your argument. Let your results be your reply. For in the end, the world cannot ignore the one who has mastered himself. When the will becomes absolute, the world begins to bend. For the universe itself honors consistency. It yields not to those who wish, but to those who persist. The majority move only while excitement lasts. The master moves long after emotion has left. He walks when others wait, acts when others analyze, endures when others escape. His results appear miraculous, but they are mathematical. Cause and effect never fail. Only men fail to endure them long enough to see the harvest. Discipline is not a burst of effort. It is the architecture of continuity. It is the silent law that converts days into destiny. Each small act of control, every morning you rise when you'd rather remain in bed, every evening you work while others are entertained, every hour you govern your thoughts instead of gossiping adds an unseen layer to the structure of mastery. At first the results are invisible, then inevitable, for no effort governed by law is ever lost. Time becomes your ally when you obey its order. Those who drift complain that time runs too quickly. Those who are disciplined find that time stretches for them because they waste none of it. Every focused hour multiplies. Every distracted one dissolves. This is the law of emotional economy. Just as money must be saved and invested to produce wealth, emotion must be conserved and directed to produce power. Most men spend emotion the way children spend coins on impulse and trifles. The wise invest emotion into creation, into discipline, into vision. Every outburst is an expense. Every reaction is a withdrawal. But every moment of composure is a deposit that accrues compound interest in peace, clarity, and strength. You are emotional capital embodied. Guard it as you would guard your fortune. Do not waste it on arguments, on envy, on petty offense. Preserve it for the work that defines you. The calm mind earns, the reactive mind burns. To govern emotion is to expand capacity. Every man is given energy. Few use it well. When you cease leaking energy through worry, complaint, and fear, you discover how much power was yours all along. That power, concentrated through will, becomes influence. People will begin to feel your composure before you speak it. They will sense that you are unmoved by their storms, and in your stillness they will find direction. For that is leadership, not dominance, but steadiness. Not noise, but presence. The leader is not the loudest voice, but the calmest center. He acts according to vision, not vibration. And to build such steadiness, you must forge an unshakable will. The will is not muscle, it is alignment. It is born when thought, emotion, and action unite under one command. When your mind believes, your heart desires, and your hands execute the same intention, the world cannot resist you. The weak scatter themselves across contradictions. They wish for success but cling to comfort. They plan for greatness but indulge in distraction. Their will cannot solidify because their allegiance is divided. But the strong are single-minded. They burn with one direction, and that fire refines all else. If you would develop unshakable will, decide once and never again. Decision is energy condensed into form. The undecided live in perpetual fatigue because their mind never rests. But once a decision is made, energy returns to motion. The will draws power from finality. Decide who you are. Decide what you will build. Decide what you will no longer tolerate. And then let no emotion, no opinion, no obstacle revoke that decree. Every time you hold firm under pressure, the will grows denser, heavier, more magnetic. When the will becomes a law unto itself, life ceases to feel random. Events begin to arrange themselves in your favor, not by superstition, but by symmetry. Order recognizes order. When your inner world is organized, the outer aligns. The undisciplined mind lives by chance. The disciplined mind lives by cause. The first blames, the second builds, the first reacts, the second designs, and design is destiny. Understand that the final proof of mastery is not control over circumstances, but control over interpretation. You cannot always choose events, but you can always choose meaning. Every adversity hides a command. Evolve. Every delay conceals instruction. Be patient. Every difficulty is simply a disguised demand for higher strength. Growth is not blocked by pain. It is born through it. The seed cannot sprout without pressure. The diamond cannot form without heat. The soul cannot expand without resistance. To seek growth without discomfort is to seek the sunrise without dawn. Welcome struggle, therefore, as the sculptor of greatness. Say to yourself when hardship comes, this too is training, for it is. Life trains you with friction to polish your purpose. Each challenge clarifies what matters and burns away what does not. The more you accept this law, the more peace you possess. Peace is not the absence of conflict. It is command in the midst of it. It is the steady flame that continues to burn, though winds may rise. The reactive man curses the wind. The master adjusts his sail. The reactive man demands calm seas. The master becomes the calm within them. And this calmness becomes power in its purest form, the kind that needs no defense, no demonstration, no declaration. It is the power of certainty. The world respects the one who does not flinch. The crowd trusts the one who does not tremble. Even your enemies pause before the one who refuses to be provoked. Such composure is built through countless invisible victories. The moment you breathe instead of breaking, the time you listen instead of arguing, the day you work when no one watches. Every silent triumph over impulse forges an unseen armor. In time, that armor becomes character, and character becomes destiny. Character is not reputation. Reputation is noise. Character is substance. Reputation can be given, character must be earned. And the only forge that can temper character is discipline under pressure. When discipline becomes nature, detachment becomes peace, and peace becomes magnetism. People will ask how you remain so calm, how you decide so clearly, how you seem to move through life untouched by chaos. You will smile because you will know it was not luck, it was law. You obeyed the higher law of mind before asking the world to obey you. You mastered cause, and so you commanded effect. You built from the inside out, and now the outside must comply. For this is the final revelation. There are no external victories without internal order. You cannot conquer time until you conquer distraction. You cannot manage wealth until you manage emotion. You cannot lead others until you lead yourself. The throne of power is within, and it is guarded by discipline. When you finally understand this, your pursuit of success transforms. You cease chasing outcomes. You begin cultivating states. You realize that wealth, influence, and achievement are byproducts of composure, focus, and will. You no longer ask, what must I get? You ask, what must I become? And in becoming, you gain everything. The day will come when you awaken and find that the 5 hidden forces no longer rule you. Reaction will have been replaced by reason. The need for approval will have dissolved into independence. Chaos will have been replaced by clarity. Attachment will have yielded to detachment, and self-deception will have died in the light of truth. You will walk through the same world, but you will no longer be the same man. You will act with precision where you once hesitated, speak with conviction where you once doubted, stand calm where you once collapsed. The outer world will remain unpredictable, but your inner world will remain unmoved. This is mastery, the silent, sovereign confidence of one who has learned to govern himself. Protect it, deepen it, guard it as your highest treasure, for it is. The man who commands his inner world owns his future. If you can hold your mind steady in the midst of turmoil, success cannot avoid you. If you can remain faithful to purpose while others drift, opportunity will seek you. If you can detach from emotion while acting with passion, peace and power will meet within you and move as one. Do not wait for permission. The gates of mastery open only from the inside. Begin now. Discipline your thought. Govern your time. Command your emotion. Speak to your mind with authority. And walk this life not as a victim of conditions, but as a creator of causes. For the laws are eternal, and they bow to those who obey them. Master yourself, and the world is already yours.